quiet neighborhood in Ferguson was shattered by gunfire, leaving behind a scene no family should ever endure. Retired Fire Chief Henry Williams and his 15-year-old daughter, Ha'layna Elliott, were found shot to death inside their home. Authorities have arrested Williams' former girlfriend, Linda Hayden, who now faces 2 counts of first-degree murder. Investigators believe the violence may have stemmed from tensions following a breakup, a relationship that allegedly spiraled into a devastating double homicide. As the community mourns a respected public servant and a promising young student-athlete, many are left asking, how did this situation escalate so tragically? Before we continue, warning disclaimer: the information in this report is based on publicly available sources, court documents, and law enforcement statements. This content discusses violence and may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This report is created for educational and informational purposes only and does not glorify crime. If you believe in uncovering the truth behind real crime cases from around the world, make sure you subscribe.
Subscribe to World Crime Watch for more in-depth true crime documentaries. Now, let's dive into the case.
Tonight, we are learning disturbing new details about the murder scene where the former Berkeley fire chief and a teenage girl died last night. The victim's girlfriend is now charged and is being held on a $2 million cash-only bond.
In the heart of Ferguson, life often moved at a comforting rhythm. Neighbors waved across porches, the school buses rattled down familiar streets, and families built routines that felt safe and permanent. In the midst of this quiet, loving community lived Henry Williams, a man whose life was defined by service, responsibility, and devotion to his family. Henry wasn't born a fire chief. He grew up understanding the value of hard work and discipline. Early on, he displayed a natural ability to lead, earning the respect of teachers and classmates alike. Those qualities carried him through a career in public service that spanned decades. As a young man, he joined the Berkeley Fire Department, rising through the ranks with determination, courage, and a calm command that inspired trust in everyone around him. Colleagues recall Henry as the kind of man who didn't just show up to work, he lived his work. During emergencies, he ran toward the flames while others ran away. Henry was the kind of guy you wanted on your team, one former firefighter recalled. He had a presence that calmed chaos. You knew if he was there, everything would be okay. Even after retiring as fire chief, Henry didn't slow down. He went on to work as a firefighter for Boeing in St. Louis, continuing to serve others long past the age many people settle into quiet retirement. Every morning, the same security guard would greet him at the facility. And every morning, Henry would respond with kindness, making the man smile, sharing 30 seconds of warmth that brightened the day. It was small gestures like these that revealed the man behind the title, disciplined, reliable, but endlessly compassionate. Yet, beyond the uniform, beyond the accolades and respect he earned, Henry wore his proudest title on his chest: father to his daughter, Ha'layna Elliott. Ha'layna, or Helena as she was often called by family and friends, was just 15 years old. Yet even at that age, she carried herself with the confidence and energy of someone far older. She was a sophomore at Pattonville High School, a rising star on her basketball team, and a student who balanced academics, athletics, and social life with a maturity beyond her years. Her friends described her as joyful, playful, and endlessly curious. She loved making TikTok videos during road trips with her basketball team, always laughing, always including others, always bringing energy to every room she entered. Coaches said she had a natural gift on the court. When she shot the ball, it seemed to almost always go in. Her teammates marveled at her precision, but more than that, they loved her spirit. Henry was at every game, every practice, every tournament. They didn't call him Coach Henry because he was officially coaching the team. He never held a clipboard or led drills. They called him that because he was her coach in the truest sense. Constant, supportive, guiding, cheering, encouraging. He made it clear that he was always on her side, always watching, always proud. One coach remembered, "It was tough being Henry's daughter, in the best way. He loved her so much that you could feel it in the stands. Every game, every shot, every win, he was right there." But Henry's devotion wasn't limited to the basketball court. At home, he nurtured Ha'layna's curiosity, celebrated her achievements, and created a space where she felt safe, loved, and valued. They shared inside jokes, small rituals, and ordinary moments that are often overlooked but form the fabric of family life. Neighbors described the duo as inseparable. One recalled seeing Henry helping Ha'layna with homework on the porch, their laughter drifting into the evening air. Another remembered how Henry would coach her on passing techniques in the driveway, treating it as seriously as any fire drill he'd led decades earlier. In every aspect, Henry was not just a father. He was a mentor, protector, and best friend. Ha'layna herself was flourishing. Academically, she was bright and inquisitive, curious about everything from science experiments to social studies debates. Her teachers described her as attentive and engaged, someone who could focus intensely on learning, but who also brightened the classroom with humor and kindness. Her teammates on the Phenom traveling basketball team remembered her as both competitive and supportive. Helena made everyone feel like they mattered, one teammate said. She'd celebrate other players' successes as much as her own. That's rare in someone so young. At home, Henry's love extended beyond encouragement. He carefully cultivated her sense of safety, teaching her resilience, respect, and integrity. Friends of the family said he was deeply protective, not in a way that stifled her growth, but in a way that ensured she could explore the world without fear. Yet, despite this idyllic portrait, the family faced challenges, as all families do. Relationships are rarely perfect, and tensions can arise even in the most loving households. In Henry's life, one source of complication came in the form of his ex-girlfriend, Linda Hayden, a 61-year-old woman who had lived with Henry and Ha'layna in the Ferguson home. Neighbors described her as difficult at times, someone whose personality often clashed with others. The relationship had ended, and she was in the process of moving out, expected to leave within a week. Henry reportedly was patient, allowing her the time and space she needed to relocate. He treated her respectfully, despite past disagreements, a reflection of his consistent, patient character. But as we know, patience and goodwill can only withstand so much if emotions spiral unchecked. Behind the calm exterior of a devoted father and a vibrant teenage daughter, storm clouds were forming, unseen by the neighborhood, friends, and even some family. This tension would soon erupt in a way that no one in Ferguson could have imagined, turning a loving home into a crime scene and a community's grief into a lasting wound. The morning after the tragedy, Ferguson woke to a grief unlike anything it had seen in recent memory. Police tape cordoned off the home on North Clay Avenue. Neighbors whispered in disbelief, and the news spread rapidly through social media and local networks. For a city that had known Henry Williams as a protector, a mentor, and a devoted father, the loss was shocking and deeply personal. Community grief and tributes. At Pattonville High School, counselors immediately met with students. Basketball teammates of Ha'layna Elliott gathered in quiet huddles, some in tears, others holding each other, trying to make sense of a senseless crime. Purple ribbons, Ha'layna's favorite color, adorned the gymnasium. A banner, hastily created but heartfelt, read, "Our star, our Helena, forever in our hearts." Coaches and staff spoke openly about her character. One remembered, Helena was more than a player. She lifted everyone around her. She made people feel seen. That kind of light doesn't fade. We just have to carry it now.
We know that she is not this kind of person that could just kill two people, and it just don't make sense to us. It's very shocking, it's very heartbreaking to many of us.
And maybe
Neighbors of the Williams household were also in shock. Some recalled the laughter drifting from the front porch in days past. Others remembered Henry giving advice to a young neighbor, helping with homework, or sharing words of encouragement. The same man who had faced life-threatening fires with courage was now the victim of one of the most devastating forms of violence, murder in his own home. Community members began holding informal vigils. Candles flickered on porches, prayers were whispered at street corners, and flowers were left near the family's home. For a city used to coming together in times of celebration or hardship, this tragedy struck a collective chord. Legal proceedings begin. From a legal standpoint, Linda Hayden faced a daunting road ahead. Charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and armed criminal action, she was held on a $2 million cash-only bond. Prosecutors emphasized the premeditated nature of the attack, citing witness statements and forensic evidence. Police had meticulously documented the crime scene: bullet trajectories, fingerprints, gun placement, and autopsy reports. Investigators had also compiled digital evidence, including phone records and security camera footage from nearby streets. Every detail pointed toward a deliberate, cold-blooded act. Meanwhile, the public awaited updates with a mix of fear and anticipation. Many residents, still reeling from the shock, followed the investigation closely, hoping for answers, closure, or some sense of justice. Reflections from family and friends. For those who knew Henry and Ha'layna best, the loss was immeasurable. Family members spoke of Henry's unwavering commitment to his daughter, his mentorship, and his generosity. Friends described Ha'layna as a joy-filled young girl whose potential seemed limitless. One family friend said, "Henry's heart was enormous. He gave so much of himself to everyone, firefighters, colleagues, neighbors, and especially his daughter. And Ha'layna, she had this energy that could light up a room. Losing both of them in one night feels unbearable." The grief was compounded by the fact that the perpetrator was someone who had been part of the family circle. The betrayal made it almost impossible to comprehend. How could someone once trusted and allowed into the home commit such an act? Social media and public reaction. News of the crime spread quickly across social media. Residents of Ferguson shared messages of condolence, while national outlets began covering the story as a stark example of domestic violence escalating into murder. People expressed sorrow, outrage, and disbelief. Many posts highlighted Henry's public service career, emphasizing the cruel irony of a man who spent his life saving lives being killed at home. Online, discussions arose about domestic violence, warning signs, and the responsibilities of both individuals and communities to intervene before relationships turn deadly. Experts weighed in, emphasizing the predictability of many domestic-related homicides and urging viewers to recognize red flags before tragedies occur. Patterns in domestic crime. Psychologists analyzing the case pointed to behavioral patterns consistent with many domestic homicides. Difficulty accepting the end of a relationship. Escalating possessiveness or control. Emotional instability and impulsive decision-making. Access to firearms. These factors, when combined, create a highly dangerous situation. In this case, premeditation, planning, and execution tragically ended the lives of two loved individuals. Experts urge anyone experiencing similar domestic tension to seek professional help immediately, for themselves or for those around them. Lessons for the community. Beyond the heartbreak, this crime serves as a cautionary tale. There are lessons to be learned for families, communities, and viewers worldwide. Recognize warning signs. Escalating anger, controlling behavior, and emotional instability can precede domestic violence. Take these seriously. Act before it's too late. Removing yourself from a volatile situation or seeking legal and social support can prevent tragedy. Secure weapons. Firearms in homes with emotional tension should be safely stored or removed. Support victims and families. Encourage open communication and counseling to address conflict before it escalates. Educate communities. Awareness campaigns and local programs can help communities spot and intervene in dangerous situations. Emotional advice. If you are experiencing heartbreak or witnessing someone else struggling with intense emotions, it is critical to act wisely. Distance yourself from situations where emotions run high. Seek counseling, therapy, or mediation to manage anger. Report threats or violent tendencies to authorities. Remember, anger may feel urgent, but violence is irreversible. Henry Williams spent his life running toward fire, protecting others, mentoring young firefighters, and nurturing his daughter. Ha'layna Elliott had a future brimming with promise, basketball tournaments, graduations, college dreams, and a life full of laughter and learning. Both lives were violently stolen in a matter of minutes. The community of Ferguson, and everyone touched by this crime, is left to grapple with grief, confusion, and loss. Memorials and tributes honor their lives, but nothing can restore what was taken. Some crimes leave scars that never fade. The Henry Williams case is one such crime. A stark reminder that domestic disputes, when ignored or mismanaged, can escalate to irreversible violence. It is a lesson for all. Vigilance, compassion, and intervention can save lives. Before we close this case, sit with this for a moment. A man who spent decades running into burning buildings. A father who never missed a basketball game. A teenage girl whose future was just beginning. All gone in one night. If you believe these crime cases deserve to be examined with truth, depth, and respect.
If you want to stay updated on true crime stories, investigations, and in-depth reports like this one, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Every story matters, and by subscribing, you help us continue to bring the truth to light.